Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? We've got a fun little training for you, something that you can hopefully sink your teeth into and get something out of. By the way, if you guys are coming to me via Facebook, do me a favor and let me know where you're coming from, what state you're in, and what submarket you're in. It helps me get a feel for who is where and how you guys are doing today. So let me know in the comments, and we'll get started in just a bit. Okay. All right. All right. So I have a few people hopping on. By the way, when you guys are hopping on, if you could do me a favor, Mel's coming in from Downey, California. Welcome, Mel. Thanks for stopping by. Jose back from Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice to see you again, Jose. Thank you for coming by. By the way, also guys, if you can do me a favor, it helps with the Facebook algorithm. Spread this out, this notification out to as many people as possible. Go ahead and hit that like button a bunch of times, and if you can, hit the heart button. That'll be super awesome. Oh, great. We got Maureen's coming in from Austin. Nice to see you, Maureen. How's everything on your side? Everything good? Okay, we got some people hopping on. Guys, thank you so much for hitting those like buttons. That's super helpful. I want to spread this information out to as large of an audience as possible. I want to help as many people as I can. And I want to show you guys a little bit about kind of the three missing steps that you guys need to kind of plug into your business, and you'll be off and running is selling and leasing commercial properties. So thanks again for dropping by, and we will get started in a moment. By the way, okay, we got California here, we got North Carolina, we got Austin. Okay, go ahead and let me know, guys. Let's see, you got Joe. Joe, how are you, Joe? Coming in from Arkansas. Awesome, awesome. And anyone else, let me know where you're coming in from. As you can see, the background's a little different today. I'm working from a different office, so I don't have my CoStar folder, which has all the different states. But we'll go from memory if I can remember correctly where we're at. We got St. Louis, Missouri. Brooks, thank you so much for coming. Or I'm sorry, Brooks, thanks for coming. And Catherine coming in from Tampa. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming by. And again, guys, if you can do me a favor and hit that like button and the heart button, that helps push the Facebook algorithm, so it sends notifications, showing that there's engagement going on, and so we can get as many people on here as possible. That's the idea. We're trying to pay it forward and spread the love. So knowledge is the only thing that you can give away, and you're no poorer for doing it, right? One of the biggest complaints that I get from folks that I talk to and students of mine is that no commercial brokers want to share the things that they know. No one wants to help. And I want to be the antithesis of that, right? I don't want to like pull back the curtain and let you guys see what's behind it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to help you out and show you a little bit about kind of demystifying things, right? That's kind of the plan. What people don't realize, they think there's like a Grand Canyon sized gap in between the residential world and the commercial world. So what I want to show you is more than you think you do on the commercial side, and on the residential side, I should say, and residential agents only need a few kind of key skills in order to plug in so you can be off to the races, right? So that's where we're going to go over what you need and then how to go about getting what you need. All right. So keep them coming, guys. But I know California is 2.8 million average size. Florida is 1.6 million average deal transaction. Missouri, I don't have my book with me, but if you do me a favor, Brooks, and just type me a quick message, I'll tell you what that is. Joe from Arkansas, we did this before. I want to say 1.4 million. I'm not 100%. North Carolina, I want to say is 1.2. Texas, I'm going off the top of my head now. But what I would like to break everything down and show you kind of what the impact of adding a bit of commercial to your residential business, what that can do for you. So, hey, Benita, how are you? Coming in from Minnesota. Awesome. Joe Bush 1-3. Okay, yeah, I was pretty close with that. Okay. Thanks guys for tuning in. I see we got a bunch of people on there. And by the way, one last time, if you could go ahead and smash that like button and smash the heart button, that way we can push this out to as many folks as possible. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen in just a second so we can take a look at, let's see, one sec. Let's make sure we get the right one. How's that sound? Okay, cool. And Let's see. This thing isn't wanting to agree with me. Let's see. PowerPoint, come on, do your thing. PowerPoint. It's not behaving. Give me just 1 second here. Never fails. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So, guys, what I wanted to do today, and when I say guys, just so you know, that's a unisex term. I just mean everybody, everybody. All right. So let's talk about what your goals are. Right. Goals are important to have because if you don't have them, you don't know if you ever get them. You never ever if you ever get to them. Right. So it's very, very important. So let's talk about kind of what your financial goals are for the rest of the, or I should say, let's talk about the next 12 months, right? It's important to forecast 12 months at a time. We already have half of the year behind us. So, you know, don't feel like you should be rushed to hit your financial goal for this year, but just always be looking, 12-month leading goals, right? And unfortunately, like I said, I'm working out of a different office, so I don't have my 2 screens. So I'm going to see if I can get this thing going here. All right. So we're going to share this screen, and I see we have, oh, Hugh, thanks for joining us from Maryland. Awesome, good to see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and share this screen. Okay, and then we are going to open up the PowerPoint. Okay, so sorry, it's a little bit clunky because I don't have all my my screens here. I dislocated my knee last week, so I'm on crutches. So that's why I can't be at my standing desk and I don't have all my stuff with me. But we'll figure it out. We'll make do. Can you guys see this? I'm just going to pull open Facebook on my phone just to make sure you can see that. If you guys can give me just say goals. Just type in goals if you can see in the chat real quick. If you can do that for me, I would appreciate it because, like I said, I'm dealing with. Let's see where are we at. Okay. Okay. So here's what we got. So the financial goals for the rest of the, I should say, for the next 12 months. Okay. What is important to know, right? And if everybody can share their goals, or even if you don't, just think of it mentally, right? I'd like to see what your goals are, and then what we want to do is we want to put them in context with what the average transaction is in your state, right? So just go ahead and take like a 3% fee. And for those of you, I know I saw California, I saw Missouri, I saw Arkansas. Plug in the whatever your average sale is in your state, and then just multiply that by 0.03, so you can see what a 3% commission looks like, right? And once we have that number, right, so we want to see, what city and state you're located in, so we can look at that. Then what I'd like to do is be able to say, okay, well, here we are. If let's say your goal was, let's say, 300,000 for the next 12 months, right? And your state was an average of $1 million. And so a 3% transaction on that would be $30,000 average per side, right? We want to be very conservative with this, right? And then from there, what we want to do is we want to take a look at it and say, okay, well, that means I would have to close 10 transactions, 10 average size transactions in order to get to my goal. Does that make sense, everybody? Is that helpful? Okay. I'm just going to look at, here we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so you guys can see me here. All right, so good, Joe. Thank you for letting me know goals. Okay, now I got it open on my cell phone, so now we can boogie here. Okay, cool. All right, so whoop, I'm gonna go ahead and mute that. Okay, so it's important to understand, everything, is meaningless without context. So take your state, take your average size deal, right? And if you don't know what your average size deal is, unfortunately, I don't have my folder with me today, but multiply it by the national average, which is 1.6 million. 3% on 1.6 million is 48,000. Okay, so you can get a feel for it, right? Because what I want to do is put that in your mind before we go through today's steps, because you'll see why it's important. Okay, so now that we've established what a baseline is, let's talk about the 5 skills you already have and the 3 that you're missing to start closing commercial transactions. Okay, so let's take a look, see. All right, so but what I want to do is, right, I don't recommend abandoning what's already working for you. Okay, what I would like you to see is what adding commercial can do to your business. Don't scrap everything, your current business plan, don't do that. I would say just add it on. And I wanted to show you what kind of offsetting that, what it could do for you. So just think about it. If you could just add, let's just say 2 average commercial transactions a year. Go ahead and if you don't mind sharing with me, if you folks did the math, right? What just 2 transactions would do in your state. Go ahead, if you can type that into the chat, that would be great. Hugh, thank you for sharing it. To invest in multifamily and commercial real estate, financial goal 100K. Awesome. And Hugh, where are you coming in from, by the way? Oh, you're coming from Maryland. I don't know Maryland off the top of my head, but I would put in 1.6 because most states are kind of hover around that average of 1.6. Some a little less, some a little more, so forth. Okay. But what if by offsetting your income with commercial real estate, you could choose the clients that you work with, right? What I have experienced, and this is coming up in a second, is I've experienced that like 80% of the headaches that I have with my clients come from 20% of those clients, right? If anybody it feels me there, just to type in 80-20. If basically 1 out of every 5 clients is your toughest one, and basically 80% of the people you work with are great, really nice people, but 20% of the clients give you 80% of the headaches. Is anybody with me there? If you want to type that 80-20 in, right? And then what if, because you have extra money coming in from commercial transactions, you could get rid of those dreaded 20% of those headache clients and make your business less stressful. And think about how much more you would actually enjoy your work, right? So this is kind of a strategy that I help people employ. It's not to just throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. It's let's talk about just closing those couple deals, 2-3 deals that come your way a year, right? And I saw Mark came back with 168,000. Perfect example. 2 transactions. So that's those are California numbers. I love those numbers. I'm a little envious. I'm not gonna lie. We're 1.6 here in Florida. We're just about average. Or maybe it's 1.9. I got to double check, right? It changes from time to time, so it goes up and down with the seasonality. But that's a kind of like a ballpark idea, right? So my goal for you is to show you that adding a few commercial transactions and then adding commercial brokerage to your skill set can have a major impact on your business and your life. Like Mark is talking about here, 2 transactions extra 168,000 a year, right? Does that make it a skill worth learning? Because it's not about just this year, right? It's about how many years do you plan on being in real estate? Joe said 78,000. Awesome, thanks, Joe. And by the way, guys, just do me a favor, and while we're on that subject, how long do you plan on being in brokerage yet? Okay, let's talk about that. And I want to show you, part of the goal for this training, show you the only way to close more commercial properties quickly is through a proven plan with the right tools and the right guidance. I want to show you it's a plan. It's a step-by-step procedure, but you have to understand what the steps are before you can then implement them, right? And then finally, I'm going to show you exactly how we bridge the gap. I'm going to show you what those steps are. I'm going to show you what's entailed and what you need to do between learning the foundations of commercial real estate, understanding valuation, and why you need to build a solid investor list. Okay. Okay. Whoops. Oh, my computer's getting a little funky here, a little crazy. Okay, it's gonna be one of those. All right. So what we're talking about here is, oops, we want to go backwards. Hang on a second. This is not behaving. Not behaving. Okay. Boom. Okay. So we have what I call the bridge method, right? And it's just kind of a metaphor. It's something that I came up with to try to show folks what it looks like to kind of cross the chasm between residential and commercial. And incidentally, to close a commercial transaction, there are 8 steps. The beautiful part about it is, as residential agents, you already know 5 of those 8 steps, right? So if you can see on the screen here, finding leads, step 1. Nurturing and following up with those leads is step 2. You guys already know how to do this, okay? Writing up contracts, handling the paperwork, that's step 3. You guys are already well familiar, right? Some of the paperwork might be slightly different, but in the end, you're going to have a lot of people or a lot of similarities in the paperwork, and it's very easy. I always recommend, by the way, if you ever do a commercial transaction, I always recommend using the paperwork that I should say the forms and everything that your local brokerage, your local MLS board, your local board of realtors recommends, because all the attorneys have seen them, sellers have seen them, buyers have seen them, the other agent has seen them. You don't have to get fancy. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just utilize whatever it is your local MLS board has for for form simplicity or whatever however you fill out basic forms and addendums and so forth. Right now, step 4 in a commercial transaction is coordinating inspections. Right, making sure the due diligence is done, bringing in the property inspector, bringing in the environmental inspection, bringing in the appraiser, all these things, right? You guys are already doing these steps, right? Now, then finally, if you're already working on the residential side, you're already know how to close commercial transactions, or I should say, know how to close transactions and get paid, right? Or else you wouldn't be in the business very long. So the question really becomes from here, how long or what's missing, right? And how long will it take you to figure out those steps, right? So the next step that we come across, right, is going to be learning the foundations of commercial and having a game plan on how to execute, right? You need to learn about property types. You need to understand about different components of construction. You need to understand the terms, because commercial real estate has its own vocabulary, right? Whether it's financial terms, whether it's legal terms, whether it's different types of terms that are used specifically, as part of the commercial lexicon. You do have to understand the vocabulary if you want to be able to speak the language, right? Step 2 in commercial. Whoop, oh man, this thing is going haywire today. Sorry, guys. I promise next week it's going to be better. But step 2. Oh, here we go. Okay. Step 2 is going to be. Let's go back again. There we go. Okay, step 2 is going to be understanding valuation. You cannot sell a property unless you price it properly. You can have the best network, you can have a ton of listings, you can know everybody in town, you can be the best salesperson with the best skills possible, but unless you understand how to value a property, you're never going to be able to sell it unless if you have the wrong price tag on it. So case in point, the one I always use is take a $20 bill and go to 7-Eleven, right? And go there and ask for 20 singles. Will that be hard to do? No, of course not. Now, if I give you a $20 bill and tell you to go to 7-Eleven and ask for 18 singles, how hard would that be to do, right? But if I gave you a $20 bill and told you to go to 7-Eleven and get 22 singles, how long will you think that'll take you to do? You'll be there forever, right? Because no one's ever going to give you $22 for a $20 bill. Now, I understand the residential market these days has been a little bit crazy, but it is an anomaly. For those of you that have been in the business a while, you will agree that it's been quite an anomaly, right? But at the bottom line, the fact remains, valuation has to be there, especially when people are buying properties for the return that they create, the cash stream that it creates. You're definitely going to want to understand valuation well. Okay, so that's the next item you need to understand. Then finally, you need to learn how to source buyers and sellers. Commercial real estate is different than residential in the sense that when people buy a house, right, the average person buys a house every 7 to 10 years, right? And maybe they'll send you their cousin and their brother-in-law or their aunt or whatever. But at the end of the day, you do business with one person, that's kind of it for a while. Whereas on the commercial side, a lot of the people we deal with are investors. So what that means is that if they're looking to buy something that makes sense from a financial perspective, right? And if you can find something that makes sense and you put it in front of them, they're going to buy everything you have over and over and over again. So what I call, like, there's a lot of investors, if you look at who owns the properties in a given city or a given submarket, what you'll find is it's the same people own over and over and over again, right? You'll see it in an area. I was just on the phone with a gentleman that I sold a building to 2 years ago. And when I found him because in a very small little pocket, he owns 12 buildings in probably a 6-block radius, maybe a 10-block radius. No, it was more like a 6-block radius. 6 to the south, 6 to the north, and 6 on either side. This gentleman owned 12 properties. And in the 2 years since I sold him that building, he bought another 3 buildings in that submarket. So the point is, if you can create relationships with these folks and learn how to source these investors, buyers, sellers, you wind up doing business with the same people over and over and over again. It makes your life a lot easier when you can get a listing, know who's active in that area, find out who they are, and then reach out to them directly. The only thing better than making $1 for your efforts for a given piece of property is making $2 for the same amount of effort, right? So that's why it's so important to learn how to source buyers and sellers on the commercial side, because we tend to do business with them over and over again. There are certain people that love certain areas. Now, so going back to what we were talking about before, right? You guys have your financial goal in mind, right? And we talked about what the average is in your state. If you don't know the average, just apply 1.6 million, because that's the national average. So like everything is going to be equally above and equally below that, right? So how many transactions would it take for you to hit your financial goals, right? So if you guys can do me a favor and type in the comments, how many transactions, if you remember back to the first slide, what is your financial goal? You divide that by the average size transaction. So the previous example, like if your goal was 300,000 and the average size transaction was 30,000, right? It would take 10 transactions for you to hit your financial goal, right? So go ahead and do me a favor and divide that number, your financial goal for the next year, divided by the average size commission, so we can figure out how many transactions it will take for you to hit your financial goals. Mark says 3. That is awesome, right? That's fantastic. That is very, very doable. That's one every 4 months. Once you get it up and going, you can do that with your eyes closed, depending on how hard you work at this, right? But part of the goal of today's training is to show you there's only 3 missing steps in there, right? 3 missing steps. There's the foundations, there's the valuation, and learning how to source buyers and sellers, and learning how to brand yourself to them, okay? Hugh says probably 3. That's awesome. Joe Bush says 4. Okay, you see what I'm trying to illustrate to you guys. It doesn't take that money, and what I found is most residential agents, they get 1 or 2 opportunities that just fall in their laps, over time. So I hope you understand that this is a key skill set, because again, going back to the previous question, right? Do me a favor, guys, and just tell me in the chat how many years you plan to be in brokerage. Jose Maldonado says 4. See, there we go. Awesome. Okay, so 4 transactions a year. That's 1 every 90 days. Doesn't sound like a lot. You know why? Because it's not a lot. Good commercial brokers, that are high producing, they can get 1.5, 2 transactions a month. You just get them kind of cruising along. There's a reason why they don't want to share their knowledge, because they don't want to let everyone know, how to do this, because they don't want to invite competition. I'm on the other side of that. I say, give away the information, enrich other people's lives as well, right? So guys, do me a favor, throw in the chat right now how many more years you plan to be in brokerage. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 20. Maybe if we have people that are in here in their 20s or 30s, they might plan to be here another 30 years. The reason why I want to show you that, right, is just think about it. This isn't a skill for the next 12 months. This is a skill for the rest of your career, right? Think about it. Let's just say you want to do 2 transactions a year, right? Mark says 5. Awesome. So like if you close those 3 transactions, it's not about, in Mark's from California, right? So he's got $84,000 transactions. If he does 3 a year for 5 years, you're talking about what, $600,000-$700,000. That's a big skill. That's a lot of money from just 3 additional transactions a year. Joe says 15. Yeah, exactly. Awesome, Joe. Yeah. So if you do 4 transactions a year or 3 transactions, just 2 transactions a year, that's big money. I think he wrote 78,000 before, right? So it's not about the 12-month goal. It's about the lifetime value of this. Hugh says 2 to 5. Awesome. Yeah. So you do a couple transactions a year, that adds up pretty quick. Okay. Now, okay. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to learn how to do this? You want to get started now? Do you want to get started right? You want to get going on this immediately? Because the way I look at it is every day you delay is another day you aren't earning that additional 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 a year from just a couple of average transactions. We're not talking pie in the sky. We are talking about just maybe 1 or 2 transactions at the average in your state. It's very easy for it to be between $60,000 and $100,000 for just learning how to close 2 transactions a So at this point, you have two choices, right? You could do it alone, try to figure it out, try to figure out those 3 steps like I talked about before, or you can get it right by being coached and mentored by someone that's already done it successfully over and over again and helped others like you to do the same. Okay? Choice is up to you guys, which you prefer. I'm very low pressure sales. I want to extend a hand. I want to help you folks and see if there's something that we can do to help you enrich your life, right? We do a 6-month training program called CRE Basic Training, where you get trained from the A to Z of the sales and leasing process. And if it's something that you would like to know about, something that you would like to understand more about and get a hold of this skill set for once and for all, go ahead and type training in the comments below, because we can absolutely show you. I take all my business systems and I give them to you on a silver platter. All you have to do is put in the work and just apply yourself. And in 6 months time, we'll have you up and running, and you'll have the skills, the knowledge, and the confidence so that you can figure out lease transactions in multiple property types, learn how to list and sell properties, or learn how to work with buyers. Whatever it is you choose, we can help you along those ways. I recommend getting to the sale side, right? Working with sellers, but along the way, I show you how to do leasing, how to work with buyers, and you get trained and mentored on a weekly basis. So that after 26 weeks of seeing me once or twice, depending on what kind of level of engagement you're involved in, we can walk you through that step and answer your questions along the way. So we're kind of like holding a flashlight down the dark road so that you know how to find your way. Okay. So, guys, if you want to book a complimentary strategy session, go ahead and click down below and then type in training in the module. I'm sorry, in the members area, in the comments area, and we'll go ahead and set something up for later on this week, because I'd love to help you guys learn the skills that other folks have learned and have the same success that other folks have, right? All right, so if there's anything else, anybody have any questions? I saw Hugh said 6 months question. We have a couple different options, Hugh, depending on what your level of engagement is, but I'd be happy to hop on a call with you and kind of see what it is that you need and see what it is that, if what we can do to help you. So I'd be happy to do that. But if there's anyone else has any other questions, we can reach out to you. I can DM you. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to see you as always. I look forward to helping you however I can. Again, we are here every Monday live at 5 p.m. Eastern to bring you some tidbits, some knowledge. By the way, this Thursday, be on the lookout in the group. I just recorded a new video today that helps demystify cap rates and understand how cap rates are derived and how to figure them out, because that's one of the most the most kind of misunderstood aspects of commercial real estate. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to be sending out video trainings this Thursday. So anything I can do to help you guys, let me know. You can always private message me on Facebook and we'll go from there. Until then, have a great week, guys. Take care.